July 21st, 2026, 7:31. Call the meeting of the Willington Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Those present, myself, Bob Shabbat, Jeremy Brothers, Stephen Tyler, Rebecca Sinowski, Bill Burnell, and we'll see Michael Johansson for Walter Parcell.
It's Stephen Troyer. I'm not an aerospace.
A blast from the past. Any applications for receipt?
We have none.
Okay. D, public hearing, we'll continue that tonight. PZ 26-7, special permit application for construction of a 10,000 square foot plus or minus truck wash and 3,000 square foot plus or minus storage building with associated site improvements in the DC zone. Owner, JT Property LLC, applicant Design Professionals, and that was continued from July 7th, 2026. Guess we'll start with the applicant tonight.
Yes, Mr. Shabbat, and thank you, members of the commission. Again, my name is from last time. My name is Peter Valley, President and CEO of Design Professionals, Inc. On behalf of 10 Polster Road LLC, which is associated with JT Property LLC. So also with us tonight are our clients, Tony and Juliana Isafai. And also with me from our office to my right is Gracie Cousins, project engineer. And also remotely, Barbara Schmidt, our licensed landscape architect. She'll be coordinating our PowerPoint exhibits as need be, remotely, if she's recognized. But I think it might just work out well, I think, the order we present them. And then also presenting with respect to, well, Barb will be presenting with respect to matters such as site lighting and landscape architectural things such as plant materials. So she'll be doing that later on in the presentation. Also with me tonight, behind me is Mark Bertucci, professional engineer and vice president, Fuss O'Neill. He's the traffic engineer for the development. Alan Lamson is remotely. You can see him to the left side, in the middle. He is with FLB Architecture and Planning. And also to my right behind me is vice president for FLB is Mark Lamson. And also with us is going to be on remotely in a little while. I don't think he's on as of yet. It's Austin Shepard. He's the designer of the system. And he's also, I believe, the lead guy down at Carb Troll down in Stratford, Connecticut. But he is going to be joining us remotely to address the O&M manual, operations and maintenance manual that he's prepared regarding the Carb Troll wastewater recycling system. It's important to this project, but he's an expert in it. Great to confer with him, by the way, he really knows his stuff, and he's agreed to be with us again as he was here in addressing commission 2 weeks ago. So we will be addressing a response to items raised at our last hearing, July 7th, or subsequently raised by town staff. So what we'll do is we'll go right to the exhibit. The first one, plan changes clarification. Okay, it has a little map on the side of it. And another one in the lower left corner. As discussed at the last meeting, we are depicting on this plan and our overall plans a gated access to self-storage facility off of Mahalia at the driveway. And the purpose of that, as we discussed, was to discourage anyone from, like trucks or whatever overnight, from entering the site when there's nobody there, such as overnight or any other time. And so they'll, as it's closed up, the gates will be closed and that's it. So a second thing is, as requested, we looked into the potential for a guide rail or stone wall between our driveways on Polster Road. Town preference, as Mike had expressed, was a stone wall, and our clients have agreed to install stone wall roughly 2.5 to 3 feet in height, similar to that which on the other side of Polster Road, which will be a decorative stone wall, and it's shown on red in the lower right corner of the exhibit. And the purpose of that is to have a physical barrier for trucks. It'll be about 200 feet long, the stone wall, and so trucks will no longer park in this area, which is already designated no parking, but they are tending to ignore that as we understand it. Next, we're also relocating the monument sign, which is shown in the lower right corner extreme of the exhibit. And that is being relocated at the entrance to our truck wash facility so as to move it out of the existing sightline easement, viewing easement, that was established with a Love's traffic center application previously, which I had no involvement, and their northerly drive to Polster Road, so it's serving that. I believe that was a requirement of the state traffic commission at the time, unless they called it OSTA at that time, I don't know. But the main state traffic permit required that, and we are required, because it's over the ECFI's land, we're required to respect that, so we're moving our monument sign out of the way to the south of that sightline easement. So we'll no longer affect that whatsoever on paper. Next item is as discussed on the 7th and as shown on the exhibit, we will expand the apron at the main entrance with concrete. So the concrete could be concrete surface in addition to the bituminous surface there, including a concrete mountable curb. So this will readily accommodate the occasional truck that swings really wide as they either enter or exit at this location. However, we're really not, that's only one way, so we'll only have entering. So if somebody enters from the north, they came out of the northerly driveway of Love's, they could, and they swing really wide, we'll accommodate that. And it's also, because it's concrete, much more durable than a bituminous concrete or asphalt system. Fifth item is we have mountable curbs. You see there's a detail for that in the middle bottom of the exhibit. And wherever we have curbing, they are mountable. There's some areas where you don't have curbing, such as where the water will flow off into the detention basin or water quality basin. So otherwise, we have mountable curbs throughout the site drives, and they'll all be all be mountable. Also, Barb Schmidt, landscape architect, she'll be discussing shortly the building light fixtures. There's a question about that. Also, overall landscape architectural elements. So if we can have the next slide, which is the one, same title, I believe, yeah. No, proposed activities waste tank design update. So first thing we want to discuss with that is that the wash water waste tanks, they're twin 4,500 gallon tanks, concrete tanks. With respect to that, there's going to be a liquid level alarm. Our plans indicate a non-contact alarm for water levels, not a float alarm. We've discovered that float alarms are susceptible to corrosion from salt, and we want the system to last for a very long time without a lot of maintenance. Next item is that the concrete wash water waste tanks will have an interior waterproof coating made of fluoric epoxy to prevent leaking of the tanks. The coating is resistant to chemicals, acids, alkalis, corrosion, hydrostatic pressure, and continuous submergence. So there'll be an epoxy coating is in, and I believe the tanks come that way from the manufacturer, as we've researched and spoken to one of the vendors for that. And then it would be reapplied in 10 to 20 years as condition based. Shortest time frame would be 10 years. On inspection would be 20 years if they get the longest duration from it. So somewhere in the 10 to 20 year period, the epoxy would need to be reapplied. Next item is both of the 4,500 gallon tanks will have a PVC wrap. That's the blue exhibit that we prepared in our office, which is a redundant form of leak protection. This leak detection system has a 2-inch PVC perforated pipe with alarm installed between the wrap and the tank around the entire tank base to protect the liner. It's held below it before it's installed to be a 40 mil breakout barrier. And that's again to protect the liner prior to installation of the system. The expected lifespan of the tanks are because of the leak detection system, the liner, it adds another 10 years to the life of it. So the tanks are expected to last between 50 and 70 years. Oxy line in the interior, we've got the wrap on the exterior with the alarm system and all that. So that is a 50 to 70 year period, based on our research. We have submitted Carb Control's operations maintenance manual, O&M manual, for their wastewater recycling system. And as I mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Austin Shepherd will be joining us this evening to answer any of the commission's questions regarding the O&M manual or any questions from your staff. And he's still not on the line, correct? It'd be a little early for him. Based on our expectation. Okay, thank you.
He's running out of battery.
He's running out of battery, so we might just switch over to that. Okay, I'd like to switch over to the architectural exhibits. There are multiple exhibits.
Yeah.
Alan Lamson is up in front.
Yeah.
And they have, they don't Wi-Fi on anything. It's a beautiful neck of the woods. So he's there and his battery's running low, so he'd like to go now. If that's, appreciate that if you could recognize them so he can come in.
Yeah, he can unmute himself.
Okay,
Well,
Alan, have you unmuted?
I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, proceed, Alan.
Okay, so we've obviously made changes to the building. As I had mentioned before, because of the process inside, we really want to stay with the concrete masonry units. This particular drawing indicates the two sides of the building that'll be most seen from Polster Road. The lower elevation is the front one facing directly on Polster Road with the two truck bays on the left and the office area located on the right. And then the one above it is the side that would be seen as you come in the entrance drive to the building. The darker color, we have samples of the two masonry pieces, which we'll give to you. The darker color is a brown red, sort of in the sequence of the Connecticut sandstone that is so prevalent in this area, and then the lighter color being a cream color just to offset the red. If you can go back to the elevations, please.
Mr. Mark Lamson's going to just go up to the commission so we can show them.
Right. Where the office is, this is the other two sides. The one on the top is the side that we indicated we would have no windows or anything in it to help mute the sound. Although we don't anticipate a lot of sound coming out of the building, the doors are insulated, the building is heavily insulated. But this is that side, and it shows the building-mounted lights on the elevation. The other one is the rear area. The door to the left is the entrance into the one of the waiting areas off of the truck bays, and the 3 truck bay doors. When these bays are occupied, the doors on both ends of the bay are closed, so that the lane is completely enclosed inside the building. I would point out, it shows on our plan, and it's correct, there is, by the glass doors on this elevation, there is a small overhead door for bringing product into the building in the area where the equipment is. It shows on our plan, it accidentally got eliminated on the elevation, but it did show on the elevations we presented 2 weeks ago. Again, the block, as you can see, is split face. It's a really nice stone-looking finish, and we've provided some vertical elements to provide some shadowing effect on the building to further define the areas that are here. Significant, I think, a significant improvement from the last presentation, where I had mentioned we're really focused on the interior and getting a material that would resist any long-term or not require any long-term maintenance for the washing area. Now we've addressed the outside. I should point out that all of these doors are protected. We have steel concrete-filled pylons at each corner of the doors, and also at the corners of the building on the backside where the bypass trucks would be going by, so the corners of the building are also protected. That's it, Peter.
Thank you very much, Alan, and Rick as well. So why don't we go on to we could do landscape architectural slides. Thank you, Mike, and Barbara Schmidt, and unmute yourself, and she can go in and do her presentation with respect to those comments, in particular comments made last time with respect to landscape architectural elements, including plant materials and also site lighting. Barb?
Hi, thanks. Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, as Peter mentioned, I'm Barbara Schmidt from Design Professionals. I'm a licensed landscape architect in Connecticut and Massachusetts. Good evening. I'm here to address the landscape comments that I observed at the last, I wasn't at the last hearing, I apologize, but I was able to hear all the comments, and I made some plan changes that we intend to put in or propose right now to put in the plans as they're moving forward. With these proposed plan edits and explanations, that'll address any of the comments that you had, and I'm here for questions afterward too. But the first comment that I recall was about the arborvitae and its, sensitivity to deer, which it's a completely valid comment. I agree. I was also concerned about some of the shading in the buffer area. This is all the arborvitae we're talking about is in the northern area of the property line where we have the buffer up against the detention basin. So I've swapped those varieties out for the hybrid holly varieties, which will get a nice 8 to 10 feet wide and tall. And that'd be great for more deer resistance and for the shady conditions. And deer like to eat almost everything, but these, if they do get eaten and they're nice, initial leaves come out and those get eaten, they can bounce back really easily. So that change is up in the buffer area, and I balanced it out with some rhododendron, and I've updated the rhododendron variety to a hardier rhododendron, in my opinion. The second comment that I recall was about the red twig dogwood in particular, but I just wanted to point out that middle area, just south of the driveway coming in, we have the shrubs there because in our hydrology modeling, we use the land classification of scrub brush. So I intentionally picked shrubby suckering shrubs to be to fit the shrub modeling, which is a 20% canopy of shrubs and small trees. And that's to slow down the water as it goes down the hill and towards the wetland area. So red twig dogwood by itself, it has really exceptional wildlife value. It has a different wildlife value than, say, an arrowwood viburnum. and I love the viburnum. So instead of swapping the red twig dogwood for the viburnum, I also had some forsythia in there for some color, but I swapped out the forsythia and put in the viburnum dentatum. And so with the red twig dogwood and the viburnum shrubs in there, they provide different, but also lots of value for wildlife value, exceptional wildlife value going into winter. And the red twig dogwood would also provide some winter color. It's one of my favorite shrubs. I love using it. And it's meant to be a shrubby thicket area to slow down water and to be wildlife habitat and value with the berries and the food. The third comment was that I recall was about the water quality basins, and so that is over on the right of the screen, where I have the words talking about the specialized seed mix for the detention basin bottoms. So I haven't changed that. There's always been a specialized seed mix for the bottom of the detention basins, and that's by New England Wetland Plants. It's a New England wet mix. So it has a wide variety of native seeds at the bottom, suitable for the bottom of these depression areas that could take water and drought. So the question was about cattails. So, with my research going into this, I did some research as far as the specialized seed mixes versus the cattails in particular. And the specialized seed mix comes out on top for a couple of reasons. And I listed those reasons on this slide here. So the cattails, the problem with the cattails is that they actually do require a lot of maintenance, because they absorb all those nutrients, the nitrogen, and they absorb it all in the spring, and then they have to be completely removed in the winter, or they would sit there and rot. They also have a shallow root system, so they're not great for erosion control, and they grow like crazy, and they restrict flow and infiltration. So the seed mix doesn't do that. The seed mix has a deeper root system. They have more resistance to erosion. They have the really excellent filtration. They're low maintenance. And they have a permanent nutrient removal through the soil, where the cattails, the nutrients would be caught up in the stalks, and then the stalks would have to be removed. So also the cattails have they might be susceptible towards any cross-contamination with an invasive cattail species if there was anything in the air. So to just not have them around is a preferred option. Also, the seed mix has a lot of excellent flowering species, so it's great natives and great for pollinators, and it's a really excellent seed mix. So I put the seed mix in the slide, but as you can see, it has a lot of sedges, and it also has flowering, milkweed, ironweed asters, blue flag, Joe Pye weed. So it's a really great seed mix. And the last landscape-specific comment was about having columnar trees. And I like that idea, lower maintenance for the client. So I definitely think that's a great idea. So I've taken the red maples and changed it to the Armstrong variety, where the Armstrong is the columnar variety of the red maple. And it's really beautiful, really lovely shape and color. And that is along where the tree is, and that's only the deciduous trees. I haven't made any changes to the evergreens along the road. I didn't hear any comments about that, but the red maples are around where the building is and the parking areas. So that was a good comment, so thank you. And then to address the lighting comment, Peter was mentioning, I was going to address the lighting. So I did the lighting plan. There's no slide for this, but there was a question about the wall mounted razor variety. So all of the pole lights and the wall mounted lights are all the same series of lighting, the razor wall mount. So this is the razor series from US Architectural Lighting, and They're all fully cut off, dark sky compliant. They don't have a need for any side shielding because their LED lights are sort of recessed up into, and then they go straight down. So I have that confirmed with the lighting rep. So they don't have side shields, but they do have a shield that's up against the house side. So it would stop any glare going against the wall. But other than that, they are fully dark sky compliant and do not require shields on the side. But they do have the shield against the house, against the building side, if we wanted to add that to the fixture. And that's all the comments I was intending to address tonight. So thank you. I'd send that back to
Thank
Peter.
you. Incidentally, she's also lead accredited professional for blind standing. So we, Mark Vertucci is behind me, should there be any questions with respect to transportation and traffic issues. And also, is Austin Shepherd on yet? No, okay, hopefully he'll be on in the not too distant future. And we can maybe recognize him at that time. It's all right with the chair. And I think that concludes our presentation, other than Mr. Shepherd. In the event you have any questions with respect to the operations and maintenance manual.
Okay.
For the car control system.
Any questions from any of the board members?
We did have one, it's a traffic question. Was in the calculations for the traffic, anyone who's using, say, the other side of the highway that wasn't planning on coming over, but now the truck who didn't need to go to that side, those trips that would go through to the Love side and come back, just that's going to increase numbers in the traffic in that area. If that was even considered.
Yeah, so Mark Vertucci again from Fuss and O'Neill. I presented last time the traffic study, some of the methodology and how we assume pass-back trips. So those are trips going to the truck wash that are already on the road network going to either the Travel America, FedEx, or Love's. So those trucks will then divert from their station, go to the truck wash, and then get back onto the highway. So yes, there will be some from the other side, from the FedEx and the Travel America. So we diverted those trips across the bridge into the site and then back onto the highway. Long answer. Short answer to your question is yes.
Bob, I have a question for Barb Schmidt.
Oh, sure.
I was wondering if the roadies and the hollies would fare well with winter scald, because I've been noticing that happening more and more in the last few years.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to change it to the Roseum elegans instead of the maximum, because it's the larger leaf ones that definitely had the effects of the scald. The Agricultural Experiment Station put out an article all about it, and it was definitely the larger leaf varieties that were affected more. So hopefully this variety will be a lot better and handle it better.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Just one question about the seed mix in the swales. What percentage of that are sedges? The sedges are going to do most of the work in those swales.
Yeah, it's funny. Ernst Seeds puts out their percentages, but New England Wetland Plants keeps it under secret because they changed their mixed formulation. So based on the comparable seed mix from from the Ernst Seeds that New England Wetland Plants, I would say probably about 30 to 50%, maybe more.
Okay. That's
because there's there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 varieties of sedges.
okay. Thank you. If there's no other questions from the board, open it up to the general public. Anybody online?
There are a few people online, don't see anybody who is their name, but. No.
Okay, in the room, Kathy?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy Demers. I'm the Conservation Commission Chairman, and I presented a letter to the use office that you probably have received already. If you'll indulge me, I'd like to read that out loud on behalf of our commission. As you know, the Conservation Commission is tasked with conserving the town's natural resources. We appreciate that the property owners and the applicant have worked together to create a site design that seeks to balance development and protection of the town's natural resources. Per the applicant's narrative, the parcel contains 12.3 acres. The site improvements will occupy 4.3 acres, that's 35%. So there will be approximately 8 acres, 65% of the site left undisturbed after both facilities are erected. This undisturbed habitat area includes all of the property's wetlands with 2 ponds and a stream, some meadows, and a large forested area. I took that right from their narrative. With this in mind, we respectfully ask that the property owners consider placing a conservation easement on the portion of the property that is not being developed, and our reasons are as follows. Our commission believes that the remaining forest land, wetlands, streams, and ponds can provide beneficial habitat for wildlife and important ecosystem services in the area. The remaining forest land is not significantly large in size, but it is adjacent to other forested areas beyond the property boundaries, which magnifies its capacity to provide wildlife habitat and travel corridors. It will also help to infiltrate and filter stormwater, provide shade and cooling to the stream and ponds, act as an air filter that traps airborne pollutants and releases fresh oxygen to an area that is already heavily developed along the highway. The forest will also help attenuate any noise or light pollution in the area, which will benefit local residents and wildlife. The remaining meadow areas will not likely be large enough to support grassland birds of state concern like bobolinks or meadowlarks or kestrels, but they will provide some habitat diversity for species of birds, amphibians, mammals, and insects, pollinators, that benefit from more open natural areas. We would recommend keeping these areas open by periodic mowing. A deep wildlife biologist can provide advice about best management practices, or perhaps their landscape architect can help with this, as they relate to mowing frequency and timing schedule to support wildlife and prevent non-native invasive plants from becoming established in the meadows. The town has inland wetland regulations that will protect the wetlands and watercourses from development, but without a conservation easement, the remaining meadows and forested areas will remain vulnerable to future development or timber harvesting in the future. The easement would be a voluntary, legally binding agreement that places permanent restrictions on the development or use of the remaining property to protect its natural resources, keep it basically in its natural state. There's past precedence for conservation easements being placed on commercial properties in the surrounding area as they were being developed. This includes Love's Travel Stop, the TA Travel Center, and NX, which all have easements on some portion of their undeveloped property. The commission recognizes that the town's plan of conservation and development, our POCD, has identified this particular area near Interstate 84 Highway, the exit, as a desirable place to focus economic development. But the plan also notes the need to balance development with the conservation of natural resources and encourages the protection of more open space in town. We hope that the property owners will see this as an opportunity to support the town's POCD and help to preserve our natural resources for future generations of residents in that. And I'd like to ask the commission if I can reserve a little time at some point. As a private resident, I had some questions just generally about the site design.
Sure. Any other public comment?
Yeah, this sounds so good. Yeah, I just still can't get over how the traffic, one lane going up onto Polster is not going to be blocking the three-way intersection. And anybody who lives up Mahalik Road or has to go down Polster is not gonna get through if that traffic is backed up. That's my issue. The one lane right there, it's only one lane. I don't see how that can never be a problem. And that's the only issue with this. I know you've been hearing about this all the time, but you know, I mean, it's a real issue. Just think about it. If you're coming off the highway, either way, you can't get up Mahalik Road, you can't get down Polster. You got two ways to get in and you can't go either way. I mean, it's a real situation. It could happen because you got traffic already backed up, not always from Love's, but you're gonna add on this traffic too. Okay, and whatever traffic's coming from TA and FedEx to go into the truck wash. And, you know, that road is blocked off, then what happens? That's the concern.
Okay. Thank you for coming forward.
Well, I know you've heard it a million times. I know the issue.
Never hurts to hear it again, I guess. Kathy?
Again, as a resident, I had some questions. And I did take time to look at the Inland Wetlands Commission's review of the site, you know, online. I did look at our last public hearing 2 weeks ago here online. So, you know, I'm familiar with some of the questions that have been asked. But I was wondering if we could learn a little bit more, or understand a little bit more about how the truck wash works in terms of if I'm a truck driver, for example, I drive up, I'm stopping at the stop sign. The doors close, for example, there's somebody in there already, door opens, what happens then? I proceed in, how does the staff react? Are the staff outdoors? Are they waiting for the driver to come out? Who starts the machine, so to speak? How are people directed to where they have to wait? How do they pay? If somebody could explain that, would be helpful.
Okay. So to the developer, the question was, did someone explain how the whole process of the truck wash works? Insofar as driving in, closing the bay up, and then the process, once the process is completed, who's moving where, what does management do insofar as directing the flow of people and equipment? They're working on it.
I'm sorry, we're just conferring from.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so there's ability, 2 rows of vehicles coming up in the queuing lane. And then they get up there and then they proceed to the building and then they pay at the building, credit card. Whatever, some kind of electronic device, and they pay and then they're, I guess they get a green light to proceed and they drive in, the door is closed behind it. They stay in their vehicle the entire time, and then when it's finished with the wash cycle, then they exit. And it takes about 15 minutes. 15 minutes to do this.
Very similar to an automobile wash.
Oh, okay.
On a much bigger level, yeah,
Well, yeah.
much more sophisticated.
I was wondering why there was a waiting area, I guess, because I thought maybe they get out of their vehicle and they go into a waiting area.
Well, it could be somebody with the driver. Occasionally, some people, their spouse with them, whatever, and they may get out of the vehicle, don't wanna go to the car wash. And so they go in there and just wait, and then they meet them when they're finished, which is roughly 15 minutes later.
2 of the lanes are automated, and 1 is manual. How does the manual process work?
So you're gonna have an attendant there.
Yes.
Yeah, there'll be an employee there for anyone who wants to do the manual, and your people will be doing the cleaning?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're gonna pay for the cleaning to be done by his staff,
They will wait in there.
and they'll wait in the waiting room,
If they want.
or they can leave and they can stay in the cab.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Will the doors for the self-wash be closed when the staff are in there, or will they be open?
No, when it's being washed, each of the 3 bays will be closed.
In the self-wash, I have a question about that. is the water, the recycled water being used in that bay as well, or is that fresh water?
Yeah, it's all the applications, it's the recycled water.
So if you have a person inside washing that out, which is your staff, I'm sorry, should I direct the question to you? So my question is, if you have a staff
So
person.
everybody can hear, so I don't have to repeat it.
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so I get a little worried about some of these things because I'm worried about somebody, an employee being in there with recycled water splashing around and stuff and things getting into that person's eyes because this water is not fresh water that's being used to wash in there. So I have a question about, how do we protect an employee? That's probably not your concern, but that's my concern as somebody who's just worried about, is there an
There's an easy answer for that. They all wear goggles,
Oh, okay.
protective goggles when they're applying it in the vehicle.
I guess I didn't understand how the self-wash worked. I thought it was like I could go there and wash my RV or something,
Well,
She can wash it with the automatic wash.
yeah, the RV could go through an automatic wash.
The self-wash is for.
Yeah, well, they're not gonna go inside a RV vehicle
No.
where you have
We just inside
your
there.
appliances and your chairs and so.
I think the distinction is, this is not like a manual self-wash car wash where you get out of the car, grab a hose and a nozzle and do it yourself. The self-wash
No.
is automated and short term, but at no point in time does the driver participate in cleaning the vehicle.
None whatsoever.
That was.
There are many reasons for that, professional, so that it comes out to meet Juliana and Tony's standards, and also make sure it's done correctly, and for safety reasons. So they don't want people in there cleaning out the trailer or whatever like that are not, their staff are professionally trained and for which they have insurance and all that.
Right.
After Kathy.
My other question is, if I'm a driver and I'm in there and the door opens and I start to proceed out, how will I see another truck coming out? If there's one coming out aside of me, is there gonna be a mirror or something that will show?
Yes.
Everybody goes straight out.
Yeah.
And then, there's usually only one at a time, there are only a total, maybe 8. And
Seven an hour.
7 an hour. So they go out. So they're gonna go straight out, and then there's probably not another truck there, but they will see the truck right next to them.
Okay, I was just wondering that if they're both coming out and starting out, if they would see one another, one might. one of them-
Yeah, and they're coming out slowly,
Yeah.
they're coming out of the truck wash, I mean, maybe you've been in the car, truck wash, and I haven't seen anybody just take it off, very quickly.
And then everybody, it's not a car, it's just.
No, and these vehicles started pretty slowly too, so that's another safety factor.
Thank you. Those are
Thank you.
good.
Good questions.
Anything else, Kathy?
I have a couple other questions. Please forgive me. I'm a question person.
No?
Is, as we know, in that area, litter is a big issue. Is there some kind of a maintenance plan for litter on the property? Is that?
Well, look, the staff will be policing the property on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Thing is, anything gets tossed out the window, they'll take it. So they will be there all the time, and they'll have them do it regularly. Because, there's no way, Tony and Julianne are gonna spend this kind of money on this facility and not have it look pristine. So they will do it, and they know that things get tossed out the window and they need to be properly disposed of, and they'll take care of that. But after all, Tony was a former long haul truck driver, and he visited these facilities in the past, so he knows what they're like and how people operate. So they will be doing that daily, and it's be his own staff.
Kathy?
Signage, is there gonna be any signage on the building, or will be any illuminated siding? Signage.
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 So that wouldn't be part of this, that's a separate application.
Not yet, that'll be separate. Building issue.
Okay. And the pond that's on the property that things will be draining to, does that have a dam on it? I saw on the site plan that it has a 15-inch pipe coming out of it. Is there a dam of sorts when it was built, and should that be inspected? or the pipe regularly as part of the maintenance.
The existing,
Engineer.
Yeah. Quasi Cousins, our engineer, will address that.
the existing pond on the lower section of the property, right?
Yes, that one, yeah.
Right, during my investigation, we didn't discover a dam on it. But in terms of drainage, are you just concerned about the stormwater leaving through that 15-inch pipe?
Yes, I mean, I wasn't sure how the dam was constructed, so because we've had dams on some of our conservation property. And there's pipes coming out, and we have to be worried about anything blocking them, getting into that, so. We just wondered if that was gonna be inspected regular since it's on your property.
We do have a maintenance plan for the stormwater management, which is in our ENS plan, and we did match existing flows, so we're not increasing any flow to the area. But we could have add a note to our ENS plan to inspect that one as well.
Yeah,
It's in the woods, right?
yeah, the entire storm drainage system does need to be periodically observed to see if there are any issues. We've had them in the past. Sometimes we had a little willow branch or something all of a sudden set itself near an outlet, and all of a sudden the roots block the outlet. So occasionally you find that, not very often, but they do need to have that periodically done. And so we'll make sure there's a note on the plans.
Or a tree can fall in, since it's in the woods, a tree could fall in and, a stem or something.
The system has to always work efficiently, and it requires periodic inspection, so that'll be, make sure there'll be a note on the plans, and that could be, if the commission chooses to approve the project, that can be a condition of approval, just like a number of other things that we've discussed tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question, by the way.
Ralph, are you still with us? Ralph, see your hand up.
He's not there. Do you want me to, while we wait for him, I can go through comments that I sent over?
If you would.
So I'm gonna run them through really quickly. These were things that I either came up with while we were having the last hearing, or are sort of a conversion of the thoughts that I heard from the commission. So the first comment, that you have a copy of this, first comment related to building mounted fixtures, which was addressed. Comment 2 related to the concrete block on the building was addressed by the architect. Comment 3, I did discuss with Peter and Lauren, and if the commission wants to go forward, I have a sort of a draft condition. That really is based on the fact that when we've had other projects that have had a lot of material leaving the property, if those trucks take roads that are a little bit more backwoods in their construction, the roads get ruined. We've had to repave roads simply because construction activity, the triaxles are just too heavy. So we would meet with the contractor before he gets started to make sure we know, number one, you're not going to be trying to haul stuff out of there during rush hour in the evening and adding triaxles to this problem. But 2, we want to know what town roads are going to use so that Public Works can make sure that we're not going to end up having to repay. They referenced comment 4, or they responded to comment 4 with the wall. So Love's put a wall up on that side, so those will run in parallel. I asked for an operations and maintenance plan of the car patrol system, which they did provide. It didn't print it for you because it's thick, but we do have it, and I'm happy to provide it or make it available. We asked about the redundancy in the chemical waste tanks, which they explained there are 2, both the alarm and the liner, and then the life expectancy of 50 to 70 years, which is comment 7. They talked about hours of operation already, and then they made the adjustments to the curbing that they referenced in their submission. And really, the reason for that is, having seen how things, occur here and other sites, because their entrance site is going to be across from one of the from the exit to the fuel islands at Love's on the truck side, you have to rely on a perfect turning movement of those trucks to not create a situation where the person coming up Polster to go into the truck wash that may choose to swing wide doesn't choose to make that wide turn at the same time someone's coming out of the fuel islands, and now they're competing for that area on the yellow line. So rather than create a situation where we're fixing curb, they widened the radius and added those wings, if you will, so that a truck can take it at a little bit more speed, doesn't need to swing wide, and hopefully it'll operate a little bit longer. I see Ralph is there. The one thing that I'm trying to skip the second page. So 10, the photo on the second page references what I just described. This isn't exactly what they're showing, but it gives you the idea of what I was trying to get to. They addressed the comment 10, which largely comes from Bob's comments related to landscaping and long-term viability, which I also think Ralph Toulis mentioned. They agreed to install the gate. I had suggested at the time that we could hold the requirement to install a gate rather than just leading with it if we wanted to, and if it becomes a problem, ask that the gate or require the gate be installed, that they've led with that, so we don't need to. So the last comment is related to sort of what we've heard during the public hearing, and I think just consistently, and I flagged this for them very early on, which is the issues related to trucks and truck queuing and trucks going beyond the area of this site in Love's towards Stafford, and how do we address that, and what options are on the table. And I don't know that we can answer that question fully for a couple of reasons. One, we really have two separate issues. When I talked about this with Public Works and we had these conversations internally with staff here, Mike Goo, et cetera, operationally, the problem that the town deals with is the bridge that is beyond this area as you head towards Stafford was just downgraded for a second time by DOT. And the way that it's designed just doesn't work for trucks. On top of it, Stafford has a prohibition on trucks. They do a lot of police enforcement on that side. And so whether it be a truck coming from TA, FedEx, Love's, or just coming off the highway that needs to get that way, when they get to that portion of the bridge, they see the sign, the weight rating, the turn, it's whatever, they make the decision to try to turn around. And that results in, power lines coming down, trucks getting stuck, and all kinds of craziness. That's the problem that we interact with most on the town side. We hear about the queuing, but from a frequency standpoint, what the feedback that we get is that, and that is unrelated to the issues that happen that we hear about with queuing on Polster and down Mahaliac towards the bridge across the highway. That can happen for a number of reasons. It can be that somebody is backing into a spot it loves and the spaces are 90 degrees, so it requires more than just, a sort of a 1-2 turning movement. But if there's backup at the pumps, trucks can't pull through and bypass those pumps and come back out. So they either need to come back out that last stop, or if the lot is full and those pumps are backed up, they have literally nowhere to go. So that queuing can come down Polster and down Mahaliac. And so I've talked with the applicant and have met at this point probably 4 times with Peter, with Lauren, with Mark, talked with Public Works, talked with Mike McCoo and DOT. It's not a simple solution because halfway between Polster and the ramps, the road shifts from being a town road to a state road. On top of that, I did request, and we're in the process of getting all the survey and mapping that DOT has, but it's not just as simple as, and Mark and I reviewed this, that this potential slip lane or a center lane that could be a turning lane to allow people to continue up Mahaliac Road can just be expanded within the right of way, because it's actually a highway access line that runs along the edge there. And so I don't know the details, but was able to confirm, and Mark did also say that it's more complicated to get any encroachment or or improvements within that area through DOT. So that is not something that we can simply say, yeah, widen the road a little bit for this stretch, and trucks can queue down the middle and traffic can continue to move up Mahalia. And we would have to go all the way to that bridge, the 320 bridge, to really create something. And it's a lot more complicated with where the DOT lines are and how all those turns need to happen for the ramps than simply having a wide shoulder, which was my original hope. So we're in a little bit of, and I know I'm kind of rambling on this, but we're in a little bit of a peculiar, unique situation because we have two separate issues. They are somewhat complicated because they involve a lot of different components, and we can't just stamp a design onto a plan tonight that's going to solve the problem. And one of the things that I was kind of discussed internally was we don't want to just pick one, because the one that we pick, we don't know how feasible it is, how expensive it will be, and it will certainly be the one that provides the least benefit to the residents, right? We will pick A and they would have preferred B or vice versa. And it's not a criticism, it's me being aware that they're dealing with this differently, and we don't want to, put effort and resources into the wrong solution. So to wrap it up, I talked with Ken Slater, our Sage Town attorney, and I said, here's the situation, here's what we know, here's what we don't know, and how do we kind of handle this? Our town engineer's on vacation. I don't have the answers to be able to feel confident that if we impose a condition on the applicant, that it's going to solve the problem. And he said that provided there is consensus about what the solutions are meant to achieve, and the commission has an idea about kind of what we're trying to explore, you could, if you chose to go forward and approve the application and we're considering conditions, the commission could delegate the authority to review those potential improvements and the viability of those to staff and the town engineer to sort of work through what some of those things are post-approval. You don't have to, but I don't know that we can get you a unilaterally endorsed, designed, and feasible solution to a right-of-way improvement within the time frame that you have for the public hearing. There's some other things that we can try to approach Loves for, but whether or not they choose to play ball is a separate issue. So with that, I'm going to stop rambling and you can kick it back over to Ralph.
Ralph, you still wanting to raise your hand?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I had some audio problems at my end. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, Ralph Tillis, Village Hill Road, Willington. Going back to the first slide at the entrance, I noticed that it points and mentions concrete apron. And then everyone talked about a rollover curb. Concrete curb. Quite honestly, I think at that entrance, that entire pavement should be concrete and not asphalt, particularly for the raveling that occurs in the summertime on hot asphalt pavement with trucks turning. That's going to create a problem. And if I'm not mistaken, the majority of that apron is actually on the town right away. It would be wise, and you see it typically wherever trucks do a lot of turning. The pavement is concrete, not asphalt. I'm in full support of a broader radius on those corners. I like the rollover curb. I think that's or mountable curb, whatever you want to call it. But I think that if there's a lot of tight turns going on, that pavement should be concrete, not asphalt. Other than that, I think that's it. Yeah,
You sure? Last chance.
Give me time. I can come up with something, but
no doubt.
It's to the applicant's benefit to I think go a little bit overboard on the pavement if it's going to have a lot of truck traffic, and that's all it serves is trucks. So it would be wise. to kind of do a little bit of overkill there. That's all I have for now.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ralph. Any other comments from anyone?
I had something that vanished from my head as soon as I thought it saying.
You could blame me, I went on the town. Losses and that.
Oh,
Okay, you're not showing.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Lamson just informed me that they had a violent storm down there in Fairfield County,
They did.
where Mr. Shepherd is located, and they lost power down there. So that may have influenced whether or not he's able to be on, because he told us he'd be on no later than 8:15.
Oh, okay.
So I think we won't be hearing from him this evening. But he did present his O&M manual for the water recycling system.
Yeah.
Which is pretty complete, and that explains it. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Beyond our control. It might have even been you said a tornado?
Yeah, but-
Even a tornado?
I confirm a tornado.
Yeah,
They
they
confirmed a tornado down.
did have tornado warnings down this afternoon.
Yeah, I heard that, but, so they confirmed one, so knocked out power, so it's probably the situation he's in. So our apologies, but,
He's off the hook, right?
well, he's a guy, he's an expert in this, and he wanted to be here last meeting, he was here. And, answered some of your questions and offered some comments, and, he really is fun guy to talk to, but he's very knowledgeable. And then not only do they do the car control system, but they do all kinds of other products, and they are experts in the water reclamation and stuff.
Kathy?
I have one more question, regarding the detention basins, and maybe the land architect can help with this. So we have a seed mix in there that, the plants will come up. What do we do if we start to have invasives plants, for example, Phragmites, which is all over, the sides of the highway these days, start to grow in there? What do we do with the basins?
Did you hear the question for the landscape?
Barb Schmidt, did you hear that question?
Yeah, the seed mix is recommended to be mowed frequently during its initial stages of the first 2 years. So that'll allow all the herbaceous material to take over and have a strong handhold on the ground itself. And then the mowing can be less than that over time. So Phragmites is much different than any of the seed mix plants that are in there. So for Phragmites in particular, they would have to go in there and physically remove it and see it. But for the most part, the frequent mowing in the beginning, and then less annual mowing, but it shouldn't have any space to have any handhold in there.
And basis, we know, a lot of projects we're doing, that's one of the main focuses of, centers of attention for projects. And they, it's very challenging because we have all kinds of species. Japanese knotweed and Phragmites and bittersweet and all stuff. We just, they get demonstration in South Windsor across my house. And they've removed all the invasives, and guess what? They're reappearing.
They're back.
And that's a DEP funded effort, by the way.
Yeah.
But UConn has some great studies going on controlling certain invasives. Sometimes they just want you to cut them multiple years in a row, the type of thing. There are many other things, but each one of these, like Japanese knotweed, it takes over all the vegetation, gets the life out of everything around it. It's the only thing that will grow. Same thing with the burning bush. I know we're on a site where there's burning bush everywhere, and nothing else. It becomes a monoculture, and it's not good for the deer or any other wildlife. It just takes over. So we got a real problem with invasives, but as Barb indicated, we have a solution for this right now. But yeah, periodically it should be inspected for invasives and have to take some measures, especially early on is best to remove the plants before they spread.
Yep, okay, so last call for questions, comments? If not, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Just want to make sure everybody, you have enough information, you don't have any questions for the applicant, traffic, architect, all those things. Because you either need to close tonight or we need to get an extension because we have only one meeting in August. So just want to make sure we're square. Sorry.
Second chance to. Okay. So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on PZ 26-7. Special permit application for construction of 10,000 square foot plus or minus truck wash and 3,000 square foot plus or minus storage building with associated site improvements in the DC zone. Owner JT Properties LLC, applicant, design professionals.
I second.
Okay.
The closing of the public hearing, so.
Right, okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Bill was a yes too.
Passes. Thank you. Moving on to, new business. I'd like to table any decision on, this, project until our next meeting.
Second.
You don't have to, you have 65 days from today to make a decision. So you don't need to necessarily do anything.
Okay.
The commission, if you have, at this point, you can talk to me. I can work through anything that's in the record if you have questions. So if there's something specific that you want me to, pull back out of the record or in some of the application materials or verify, you can let me know. And I can pull that for the next, or you can obviously reach out afterwards, but if you don't take any action, it will stay on until your next meeting. And I just want to note again, because I didn't see the date. So normally we would have 2 meetings per month. Because of August. We are not scheduled to meet the first meeting, which would be the 4th. So unless you want to continue this to the 4th and have that be a special, this would go to the 18th meeting.
I think the 18th will be fine. Everybody in agreement with that?
18th is going to be quite a meeting though. It's going to be a long meeting, yeah, right?
We'll have the
DC Board of Selectmen, everybody's meeting then. Yeah.
That's the joint meeting with EDC and Board of Selectmen.
But it still could be a long meeting, because even if we call a special meeting, we may still not have discussed and decided, right? For
this, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you can deliberate, and if you don't come to a decision at the next meeting, you could continue beyond. You'll be halfway and you can get an extension from the applicant if necessary. We could schedule a special, and that could be something between now and the 18th. Or we could, depending on how much time, I mean, we could start earlier on the 18th. And if you want to meet at 7 or 6:30, and we can discuss this until 7:30, and then at 7:30 stop and click over into that other stuff.
What's everyone's availability for 7 on the 18th? I'll be available. Well, we start at 7 on the 15th.
So we'll do a special meeting on the 18th, and from 7 to 7:30, there'll be deliberations on this.
Yes,
And then at 7:30, regardless of where you are, we'll click over into the joint commission meeting.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody good with that? I'll have a quorum.
Yes.
The special meeting. Okay. Sounds like, okay. I will put an agenda, special meeting agenda for that, and then I'll try to get that out sooner so that the folks, Walter, et cetera, who aren't here.
Well, you don't believe there's any unfinished business we have tonight?
We have no unfinished business.
Approval minutes will be tabled until, our, August 18th, meeting. Correspondence, Mike?
We have no correspondence.
Public comment? Ralph?
Good evening, everybody. Ralph Tillis, Village Hill Road, Willington. Just some observations over the last several months or longer. On Ruby Road, we have this wonderful high-speed charging facility that, as part of their special permit, we're going to put a building with some sort of services for the public. And a lot of folks utilizing that facility, particularly over this winter, had a tough time getting to restrooms because there are none. And if you observe carefully, there's now a footpath that runs between TA and the charging station. I would really like to see some follow-up on that applicant to finish what they got a special permit for, which was for a charging station and a fast food place or coffee shop or something. That's a pretty poor thing that the town, the applicant, and this commission did not think about pedestrian connectivity between related or semi-related commercial enterprises. And that's an oversight, I think, on everyone's part. And I'm a little disappointed that nothing is moving forward with respect to some kind of facility on the charging station property. On a separate matter, where do we stand on the issues at the intersection of Route 32 and Route 74? I think I know there was some legal action considered there. It would be nice to know that we're going to see some effort to clean that property, both properties up. And obviously you all have to wrestle with that somehow. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Ralph.
I can just, because I'll just give a quick update on, since I have information on that. I think, Bob, you actually mentioned the Ruby site maybe 2 meetings ago.
Yes.
So I did reach out to the developer and did a site inspection, sent all the information. He did provide me with documentation and regarding just trash. They have someone who regularly comes and documents when they clean and that they're cleaning everything. He is completely in favor of the idea of trying to provide connectivity to the TA, but when originally requested or discussed with, because that would be DOT, they weren't so hot on the idea that they might be able to do some type of a path off the right of way that wouldn't then require their review. But I have a meeting scheduled with them to just go through sort of the status of the site, and that the sort of overall issues that the commission raised. And as far as the intersection of 32 and 74, we have been gathering information and sort of discussing internally what options exist. I expect that I'll have something back in front of the commission maybe at the next meeting, I mean, since we've got it's technically 2 meetings away to sort of discuss. Frankly, the applicant and property owner has, sort of decided that the town staff is singling him out and is being draconian in our approach, so I'd like to bring the suggested approach to the commission so that there's some endorsement on how we proceed, so that it is not as if the town hall is, going off and making these decisions separately. So we've been discussing that, I've been discussing with Mike McCoo, but also, with Howard Sage, and, we'll have something back in front of you when we finalize it.
Okay, that's fair enough. And it would be nice if we could get something happening with the charging station.
Yeah, he has had three contracts fall through on a tenant for that building. At this point, they are feeling as though their option would basically be to just build a building. The reason the approval was structured the way that it was is and I'm just pulling this out of the sky, but if they just build a building that works for Dunkin' Donuts and they get a lease with Starbucks is gonna say, take the building down.
Yep.
And so spending all that time to build it and money and the design for what we would be looking for, to then have a tenant say that doesn't work, it almost creates a situation where the site is less viable. Because now these users are so specific in what they want. Remember, they came back in and modified their site plan after they got approval because they had someone on the hook. And that person, I believe it was Starbucks, and Starbucks pulled out of many of their potential sites, including Tallinn and elsewhere. So they're sort of trying to figure out what to do. They understand that there should be a building there. The approval contemplates the building would come after the solar, but they're worried about losing potential future tenants because they have a building that doesn't work for them, or a user type or whatever.
Yeah.
So they were responsive to my comments and the comments of the commission. So I will be meeting with them, and I'll try to drill down on a little more of that.
All right. I don't know, did that help, Ralph?
I don't know if he's there anymore.
Oh, no, he's still technically there.
Well, if nothing else, for the charging station, there's a universal situation that develops when people pull off the interstate to charge their vehicle. And that usually is that they have to use a bathroom. And whether it's over at TA or whether the applicant simply builds a restroom. I hate to think if this was a truck facility, we'd be dealing with a lot of amber colored gallon jugs full of liquid. So anyway, hopefully we can get something resolved there. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question about that site as well. Are they required to stabilize underneath the solar? There's all dirt there. There's no vegetation.
That was one of the things that I indicated to them when I first reached out, a couple of weeks ago. We did talk about that. It's complicated because the town engineer asked for certain stuff to not be grass, for there to be stone, so vegetation wouldn't come up to the bottom of the panel, and it wouldn't be trying to mow, and it wouldn't create siltation from constant dripping and stuff running off. So I don't know if there's a little bit of loss in translation there, or kind of what. It's very knobby what's down on the ground now, but the panels are not. I don't know how easy mowing would be in between, but that was one of the comments that we asked about. I believe we're still holding an ENS bond on the site. I'd have to check, but we did get one.
So I'll take that as part of your staff report that you just reported.
Yeah, we've just been very busy with complaints and inspections and all kinds of crazy, sort of questions and inquiries that are, looking for documents that may exist or should exist and don't exist. There's just been a lot of stuff.
Okay. If that's it, move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. 8:51. Thank you all.